Indian embassy officials in France have been granted consular access to passengers aboard a chartered flight that was grounded by French authorities on the allegations of human trafficking. Of the total 303 passengers on board, most of them are Indians. The flight in question took off from Dubai and landed at the Vatry airport in France for a technical stopover and was supposed to take off for Nicaragua in Latin America. According to reports, French police have stopped the flight and launched an investigation into the purpose of the trip. 2 passengers have been taken into custody as well. The flight, carried out by a Romanian charter company, had departed from Dubai on Thursday and landed at the small Vatry airport for a technical stopover when police intervened, the Marine Prefect's office said in an email statement. A tweet from the Indian embassy to France affirmed French authorities informed US of a plane with about 303 people, mostly Indian origin, from Dubai to Nicaragua, detained on a technical halt at a French airport. Reports also say that authorities were investigating on suspicion of human trafficking and a judicial investigation has now been opened. Meanwhile, Legend Airlines from Romania, which owns the charter flight, said it had committed no offense. The company denied any wrongdoing in the incident and is at the disposal of the French authorities. But the airline would take legal action if the prosecutors filed charges, quote unquote, said Liliana Bakayoko, the lawyer for the airline. As we jump into this discussion, let's quickly take a look at what exactly transpired. Well, let's quickly describe for you those details in further, help with our graphics on our screen over here. So this is how the plane was caught in the first place. The flight was being operated by the Romanian-based charter company, Legend Airlines. And in fact, the airline was paused for refueling at the Vatry airport, which is east of Paris. And their investigators from the specialized French crime unit, border police, who constantly do regular checks, arrived at the scene. The National Anti-Organized Crime Unit and Junalco led the investigation, in fact. And the Vatry airport, remember, is about 150 kilometers east of Paris, where this plane was docked. The airport mainly serves budget airlines, and it saw, this is the the spot, as I told you earlier, which saw the detention of the flight carrying those workers. The passengers were later allowed into the terminal building where individual beds were provided. The decision to ground the plane was due to an anonymous tip-off by someone, which led the team to reach there. Indian authorities have been given consular access to those of our citizens as well who were on board. And there are 13 reportedly unaccompanied minors amongst 300 Indian passengers on that flight. Well, the ages of the minors range reportedly from 21 months to 17 years. And 2 passengers have also now been kept in custody, we were told, as part of the investigation by the authorities there in France. Let me quickly rope in my guests who are joining us at this point on the broadcast. We have with us live Group Captain V.N. Jha, former Joint Director DRDO. Also with us is Major General Sudhakarji, geopolitical expert. Rabindra Sachdev, international affairs expert, also joins the broadcast. Group Captain Jha, what really has transpired here? Who do you believe were on board? And just, tell us about what you feel of the nature of the investigation that has been launched now.
Very good evening, Uday. First of all, I think with your voice, I understand your throat is not well. I wish you all the best. Get your throat well soon.
Thank you. Yes.
There is a concern in the Delhi region of new variants of some viruses going on. So get well soon. Now coming back to the question. Look, there are so many of the passengers in excess of 200. You mentioned 300 odd passengers. They cannot be trafficked. As per the human rights definition, trafficking is without the consent of the people who are being migrated from a place A to place B without their consent. They are the trafficked people. And so many people who are heading from Dubai airport after proper security and immigration, everything must have been done. So when so many people are involved, I fear it may not be trafficking, but yes, certainly it can be a matter of illegal immigration. That is a possibility. And that will be known only after some investigation is done. If someone has given a tip-off to the agencies, fair enough. They should be interrogated. There should be some small investigation, and with that, that will be evident. As far as India is concerned, there will be hardly any people who would like to migrate from India as illegal migrants, because India has got everything today. Everyone has got a foothold. Everyone has got a say in India, and such people seldom. I fear there will be hardly anyone who will be willing to migrate illegally any other country. But then you never know. US is a country where lot many people wish to go there. Earlier also, some people have been apprehended who were the natives of India at the US border. So such things have happened. But on the first glance, it seems that it is some sort of exaggerated condition being created by some agency. And I again fear that it may not be the trafficking. It may be a migration. It may be an effort to find some job. We know in India there is right now a self-employment scheme which is open to everyone through Mudra and various other things. People may not be willing to do that job, and in case if something is being offered abroad, they may be willing, but I can't make any comment. It would be too premature right now to make any sort of judgment whether they are the one who are fleeing from India for sake of job or not. It will only after some initial preliminary investigation that it will be evident. Uday.
All right, let me in fact take that across to Major General Sudhakarji as well. Major General Sudhakarji, what do you make of this detention, and what do you believe could be the reason that they were in this flight in this manner and of course have now been stopped?
Uday, good evening. Thank you for getting me to your show. I fully endorse what Group Captain Jha has said, and I also wish you early recovery. Get well soon. We can't afford to have you in this state of
Thank
your
you.
throat. You're the best lifeline for all of us, so as NewsX. Now, coming back to the question which we are asking, let me put things in the perspective. Let people understand. I am also prepared to learn. I have been in Middle East as a president and CEO of a multinational company. I am fully conscious of the dynamics which goes on. This, to my mind, appears to be a small little incident which has happened. I don't think, as far as my exposure to international dynamics are concerned, I've gone around quite a few countries. I don't think this is something new. And you cannot brand it as a human trafficking. It's an ongoing phenomena. And let's be mindful of the fact that the flight has originated from Dubai. By any means, by any newspaper or any news domain or the media house, has anybody indicated that the flight had started from India? So the origin, by no means am I trying to indicate that we should disown our own people. I'm trying to get at something else. Number two is, as far as my knowledge and study, routine studies go, the human traffic has been an ongoing phenomenon between the Middle East and African continent or the African countries. Particularly, the French domain has been losing the erstwhile historic and traditional dominance in the Central Africa, particularly Sahel region. They have come to a stage wherein they have been kicked out. So, therefore, the white and the blue collared, as also the skilled technical laborers ex-India, there are 9 million. The rough count is 9 millions in the Middle East. My study says it's gone beyond 12 millions, less for the COVID. 9 million, let's go by the bottom line. There are large number of Indians who have migrated, who have got the domicile of the Middle East. They may be taken by some people to Africa, maybe to replace the French citizens, or maybe to be a substitute in the void which is created by virtue of the French people moving out. Third issue that I wish to highlight is that, let's wait, the Honorable Prime Minister, in the recent incident of Pannu, as also other cases which have been making rounds of past a month and a half or maybe more than that, he has made things absolutely clear. India is a law-abiding country. We respect the rules-based international order. We'll continue to respect. Our civilizational democratic values are not from 1947. It is the oldest democratic country in the world, no matter what Greece and other people they claim. So if you go back in time, it is there in our blood, it is there in our culture, it's a way of life. So by no means, if any evidence is given by anyone, India is open to investigation, will definitely go into the details. Why, when, where, what made Indians go from there. So let's wait for the basic details, let the evidence come up. And I'm sure the country, as the righteousness which has been indicated and clearly stated by the Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi, I think there couldn't be a better response. I think he responded to the Financial Times recently, London Times also a few days back, or maybe yesterday. I think there is no better approach for any democratic country of our size, 1.42 billion people. Nobody can unsettle. I was suspecting a degree of conspiracy. Is there George Soros in this? Is there any other angle? So be it. Nobody can unsettle India. We are in a trajectory which is going to actually propel us to greater heights. No amount of conspiracy or any kind of, design by any inimical forces can pull us down. We'll get through, overcome all this. And if there is an element of any kind of suspicion, foul play, or human trafficking, I do not think it has originated from India, but should it be, we'll go to the grassroots, rectify, remedy the issue. Back to you, Uday.
Yes, indeed. Rupinder Sachdev also, of course, continues to be with us. Rupinder, what's your take on this, incident and series of events? Looks extremely fishy, looks extremely suspicious. What do you make of it?
Thank you, Uday. Yeah, it does look, very mysterious. That is one. Secondly, I'm not so sanguine that people from India are not immigrating illegally to other countries. We have enough numbers and data out there, Indians illegally going and transiting to Europe and even America, etc. However, what seems to be happening in this case is really very interesting. It's a charter flight, right? Taking off from Dubai. Of course, the flight will only take off if everyone on board has the correct valid visas. So apparently they all had valid visas to Nicaragua, right? But the point is that what are these guys were going for, if from what we know, and if majority or all of them are of Indian origin, I will not be too surprised also. See, what's been happening, the US border of Mexico is the target of people of Central America, and lately a large number of people from Africa are landing up there. How they reach up to the borders of US is a mystery to even Mexican and American agencies, right? Some of them, come over to maybe Colombia, Ecuador, from there to Panama, then they trek up, etc. But lately, apparently, Nicaragua is a better destination, because from Nicaragua, you then move on to Guatemala, and from Guatemala, you move on to Mexico. And these are all organized criminal smuggling gangs. People pay large amounts of money to reach the border with America. So this is, if not a trafficking, this is very much probably, it falls. It could. If it seems, what was the intent? Okay, fine, fair enough. What was the intent of these guys going there? And it's pretty interesting. You just played out that of the minors unaccompanied, there was a 21-month-old minor unaccompanied. That's pretty strange. So on the whole, this whole cohort of these 300 passengers is a very interesting mix. But yes, I will not rule out, personally, from how I look at it. It could be, yes, people of Indian origin paying big monies or some monies, definitely to criminal gangs, to, illegal immigration to reach up to Nicaragua, and from there make their trek up all the way to, the American border with Mexico. I will not discount it, because the people, the Indians, remember, the Indians who are living and working in the UAE are not citizens there. You don't have a citizenship in UAE. Working conditions are fine, but even working conditions in the UAE may not be the best. You have 10 workers staying together in a single room, construction workers, restaurant workers, etc., domestic workers. So probably some of them or many of them think that, okay, why not take a chance, escape from here, go over to seek out America, because America is a so-called magnet, right? So they paid money. The issue is, who is the organizer of this? Okay, so probably if it is some kind of a smuggling, human smuggling, criminal smuggling, So that could be the organizers. But on the other hand, I think we'll all hold back and not speculate until one has more information, one knows more what the French authorities have will find out. But I will not discount the possibility that, yes, these are, of course, Indian origin people who were, yes, looking to get into America illegally. We have huge numbers of our Indian citizens going to Europe. We know that. And as far as African, so what's been happening to the Mexico border, large number of Africans have started landing up there. In the month of June itself, I think there are reports that over 1,000 of Africans were arrested on the border with Mexico in the US, right? And that number about a few years ago was zero. So far, it was only, folks from Central America, South America, trying to reach to the southern border and then, just jumping in, getting arrested, seeking asylum, etc. But about 4 or 5 years ago, apparently, the numbers from Africa and Middle East have started going up. So what we are seeing now here could be that Indians also are joining, or some Indians, of course, also, who are living in these countries, be it the Middle East or be it maybe Africa, are also taking this route, a flight all the way to Nicaragua or to, Colombia. From there, they vanish, or the smuggling gangs take them to the next step, to the next step, to the next step.
Let me take that across to Group Captain Jha once again as well. Group Captain Jha, obviously there are allegations of human trafficking which are being leveled, but can migration be ruled out, whether legal or illegal? Was this an attempt at that, you believe?
Look, I just heard Mr. Sachdev. He's a seasoned veteran about the foreign affairs diplomat. Absolutely bang on, spot on what he said about what is happening at the borders of US. People are trying every means to get into it. Subsequently, it also made a very valid sense what General Sudhakaran mentioned, that today French people, remember where this plane has been held on. It is on the French territory and it is the French interest. Is there any French interest into it? I'm not sure right now. I'm in no position to tell you. But if there is a French interest, then what he mentioned, has got a very high value qualitative assessment that today French people are being thrown out from the various regions. It is not only the Sahel region. Even yesterday we had heard that Niger, the embassy of French has been closing Niger. And similar is the circumstances in many countries, that the French people are having a tough time. They have to leave it there. And then our Indian people who are going from Dubai. Remember who are in Dubai? It is the various types of skilled, semi-skilled people who are living in Dubai, who are going beyond. That means they have left their job. They are not the illegal people who are being detained because they have lost their passports. These are the people who are holding the valid passport, whose passports are in their custody. That means they are not the ones who are being subdued by the local administration. They are the ones who have got the free will to travel around. These are the people who are aboard that plane, that chartered plane. Yes, as Mr. Sachdev had an apprehension that it could be someone collectively trying to get into the US thing. But then who can pay for that 21-month-old baby? What is that baby's interest? Who will be taking care of that? I think there are more to the story than that meets the eyes. And it is very prudent that some investigation is going on. I will again come back to that particular preliminary investigation when it will be clear what is the intent of that plane taking so many Indians, among others also, to that particular place, Nicaragua or wherever they are going, and what is their final destination. It will be only known thereafter. I'm pretty sympathetic to those people who will have some tough time at the French territory, but I don't think they will take long to decide whether that plane should be left to proceed or it should be held back with some clear intent. Uday.
Yes, let me in fact take that to Major General Sudhakarji as well now for your closing comments on what you will be looking out for in the probe and the details that perhaps will tumble out in the next few days.
Uday, I think it is you, and in your channel only I have uh, given, if I may claim, to be prophetic predictions. You see, the world order in 21st century has undergone significant change. It is not what it used to be in 20th century. Without taking too much time, Uday, in 20th century we had two superpowers, USA and USSR. In 21st century, we have one declining superpower. There is a multi-centric or multipolar kind of a world order which is emerging by the day. Under these circumstances, the geoeconomics has actually escalated to its predominant role in comparison with geopolitics, which was prevalent and was the driving force in 20th century. So when I talk about geoeconomics, it is China. China is there everywhere, be it Nicaragua, be it Latin America, be it America itself, be it Europe or anything. The population of Europe was twice the population of Africa way back in 50s. Now, at the beginning of the 21st century, the population of Africa has become twice the population of Europe. So the threat to Europe and the transatlantic relationship or the alliance, which was prevalent in 20th century, has undergone a drastic paradigm shift. So what is the threat to the transatlantic relationship or the alliance? The threat to Europe today is not the invasion of Russian tanks coming from the eastern border. The threat to the Central America or the American subcontinent or the massif is not what it used to be prevalent earlier. The threat to the complete transatlantic relationship in the new global order dominated by geoeconomics are not the tanks and the drones, but the boat people. Now we can acronym a new name, call it as aircraft people. So here is a new domain which has started. The boat people, whether you call them as Indians, but mainly going by the statistics, which I commend Mr. Ravinder for having brought out, articulated the fact that these are the migration which have been established in past 10 to 15 years, taking place from North Africa and the Middle East. And where are they going? Across the Mediterranean. They're going across to Europe. France is a known hub of human trafficking. It is nothing new. It is the central point of human trafficking, if I may call it, if you wish to use that terminology. I won't like to brand the Indians as the trafficking individuals based on the fact which Mr. Ravinder has brought out, because any flight, any aviation movement from place A to place B is going to be manifested. Manifestation means there has to be a proper, as per the international immigration laws, it has to be cleared by the visa issuing authority. So without that, nobody can go. If that has been issued after due validation and confirmation, you cannot call them as human trafficking, whether with consent or without consent. So therefore, it brings me to the point. It is the new domain of 21st century. It will carry on this way. We all have to mend our ways and start accepting a common terminology of terrorism. Common challenges have to be respected in the new international order, and the articulations by the Indian governance in past 10 years or 21st century have to be given due cognizance. Diplomacy, dialogue, and the very fact that the expansion of the security apparatus and the architecture which was created way back in 20th century must pave the way for expansion and giving suitable place to a country like India so that the global south can be heard and these like problems can be addressed in an effective manner for peace, harmony, and stability in the geopolitics. Back to you, Uday.
Ravinder, I'll leave the last word to you before a break.
No, thank you very much. I absolutely agree with Sudhakarji, General, and Group Captain V.N. Jha in the overall context, the way the world is today. In fact, I'm writing a book where I say it's now optopolitics. Sudhakarji is saying that is geopolitics and economics. I absolutely agree. To it, add the images, the narratives. The world of today is optopolitics. The world is, a new world order is under construction. Post-COVID, post-Ukraine war, and now all countries are figuring out their own, needs, and also I absolutely agree with both of them on that. However, in this particular case, my view was slightly different in terms of the immigration or the incident of this flight going to Nicaragua. The visa costs for Nicaragua apparently very low. That is one of the reasons also that traffickers from the Middle East and North Africa are using Nicaragua as a destination. However, we should remember it's a charter flight. And a charter flight, you can do a charter flight, which means the passengers who go have to come back. Okay, that's a requirement. It's not a regular flight, right? Regular flights are different. It's a charter flight. It could be for all you know for a destination wedding. Who knows? Maybe the family, somebody's having a destination wedding in Nicaragua and all these guys are going for that destination wedding. That could be so. That's what makes a charter. So, and stopping over in France near the Vatry airport, wherever, would be for technical reasons, most probably, obviously, fueling. A A340 cannot fly direct from Dubai to Nicaragua. It had to get down somewhere to refuel. So that may have been refueling, and then somebody apparently, maybe a business competitor of the smugglers. There could be another gang operating. I mean, who knows the kind of things which are going on? Somebody apparently called up and said that this is trafficking happening, and that's when the French police kicked in. So I think we'll have to wait for the details of this particular, issue come out, but very, very strange, very interesting to see that something like this could be happening. Valid visas, they should have valid visas. They would, otherwise Dubai airport, they cannot get on the plane, right? And landing in Nicaragua, so what was their plan? Land in Nicaragua and vanish? Probably, I mean, if they are going there with that intent, and probably has this thing been happening earlier also, who knows? Because there are clear-cut reports and data out there by the US Customs Border Patrol that the numbers of African, North African, Middle East, and also Indians, by the way, prior to this incident, have been arrested on the Mexican border. So this is a line. Their lines route. These routes develop over time. So maybe this is one route for such illegal immigration, but a lot of details still to be known by all of us.
Let's leave it at that. My thanks to all of our guests for joining us.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.